Welcome back to Academy, where we're gearing up for Golden Guardians Academy versus TSM Academy, where the TSM Academy bot lane Crumbs has taken the league by storm again.
They sure did. They obliterated 100 Thieves that we just saw earlier. Their bottom lane, they gave up the Varus, but they picked Kalista Thresh and just ran away with the game. It wasn't close. They just won from the bottom lane. So Treats and Lost are looking really good right now. And up against a Keith that doesn't get a lot of resources at Keith and Chime, I think that this bot lane might be TSM favored.
Certainly have to think so, given that they've basically looked like they've been in playoff form from last spring. So far, we'll have a look at their matchup as 100 Thieves last week, where they kind of just gave it to them. Like, again, they've looked phenomenal as a 2v2. We'll have a little look now. Playing aggressive 2v2s, getting Winston involved.
It started from that first kill, right? You get both summoners from a Varus, Tahm Kench, and then all of a sudden, the greed actually was the beginning of the end. Because if I remember correctly, the play was somewhat salvaged since Prismal could have farmed, but then when you gave both kills over to the Kalista, she can then start to snowball, and this is where it gets really rough. Look at this. It's non-stop.
Yep. Just Treats hitting hook after hook, landing people in. Contracts way too late to save anyone, although it does try and go after Winston. Of course, Gangplank gets involved because that's Gangplank's job. And a nice double there for Lost at the end. And that was with giving the enemy team Varus, which basically no other team is willing to do, I think, except Cloud9 in the LCS, if my memory is serving me correctly. So certainly bold, and you have to think that Chime and Keith will have a big test here in their 2v2. But the good news for Golden Guardian is that Hard was actually looking quite good in recent weeks. I think he's quietly crept up. He's been pretty consistent, actually, throughout most of the year. But Nidalee, not a champion we expect him to perform on, had a very good showing on that last week.
Yeah, I think Hard has been quite proficient on the carry champions. Now, when he plays these carry champions, a lot of the team does change their draft to make sure that he can shine, whether it's having the Karma with the Kindred and making him just go really fast and shielded, or even Nidalee with a lot of tanks and CC frontliners. So I like this look. It hasn't gotten them wins every single time, but it does consistently get them leads. So I think that's something that Golden Guardians is struggling with. They can get ahead early, but then when it comes to mid and late game, they're taking some fights that are uncoordinated and losing position around objectives, and suddenly the whole early game advantage just crumbles in front of them.
Always so interesting, Crumbs, how even though they're completely different teams playing in different leagues, how organizations can sometimes develop themes between their teams. And for Golden Guardians in LCS and Academy, that has been their story. Talented players, really good at getting early leads, not as good at converting them. Although for the LCS team, that at least changed for one of their games in last weekend. We'll see if it can change here for Golden Guardians in Academy as well. And Crumbs, haven't really had to talk about this yet, but it's been 3 weeks of play, and I'm finally going to say it. Golden Guardians, I think you're great at getting Zion Spartan ahead. I would like to see plans that involved not ganking for Zion Spartan and seeing what else you can show us, because I think you are a team that can do a lot of different things and snowball lots of different lanes. I get why you want to snowball for Zion. I'm sure he asks for resources a lot, but I believe you can get early game leads without him.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think you have Keith's idea of when he was at his prime in Academy in the back of your mind, and he's definitely still capable despite the stint on support. So you can play to your bottom lane and really do a lot down there. We've seen what Treats and Lost can do when the bottom lane gets really far ahead. The game is essentially over if the support can now start to influence everywhere else, and the marksman is self-sustaining down there. So would like to see some more of that, as Zion is always one to get resources, but you just have to have a little bit more variety in your game plan, because no longer are we in the days where like, okay, just camp one lane and that's the strategy that they're gonna go for, and there's nothing you can do about it because the player is that good. We are in the phase where every single role can be an incredible threat, so that you have to be able to vary it up. And if you're telegraphing who you're going to be going up against, every other lane will suffer, because the enemy can just not only pick a champion that does well playing weak side, but use all their resources to punish 2 lanes instead of 1.
Yeah, I mean, a Blazov's Academy champion. Like, on TSM. He's good. Like, you can play through his lane as well, or have him play with your jungler. Like, there are options here. But enough, I digress. We'll talk about the bans real quickly. Graves, Kalista, Volley pair, Gangplank, Varus, TF. Pretty sensible across the board. First pick Ezreal for Golden Guardians, answered by Aphelios here. It was nerfed a little bit in patch 10.13, but still seeming like a very popular pick here for teams everywhere. Also, Lost in Treats have played basically only aggressive 2v2s, so I don't think they wanted to play Ezreal anytime soon. So happy to play into it here instead. And Trundle, with lots of junglers left up. I guess 2 are taken out of the pool between Graves and Volibear, but Winston is going to be sticking to the Trundle this turn.
Big team fighting focus already from TSM, and Trundle, I think, is teasing hard to say, ooh, you want to go with Kindred? You want to pick a carry here? It could be good, but then you also have to deal with the Aphelios.
That's a carry.
They are just doubling down on engage, so you might have to lock in your other, maybe a supportive engage here, or potentially a Galio, if that's what you want to go for. Blaze has had it.
They answered your question. How do we have an aggressive jungler, but also have enough die for the Aphelios? The answer is Nocturne. That's, to me, the jungler that does that. So I really like this pick, actually, from Hard. Blaze also going to go for Orianna instead of something like the Galio.
Nocturne is very strong right now because he got a really big buff to his sustain in the jungle. His Umbral Blades now reset. Lose 2 seconds off for each auto instead of 1, which pretty much gives you that passive every 4 autos, which is huge, especially when it comes to clearing red side of your jungle clear. The blue side, not such a big deal, but when it comes to Krugs, Raptors, and Wolves to a lesser extent, you are really, really strong at that. So he can outpace Winston in a very quick way here, and if the Nocturne starts snowballing with the ultimate Hunter, you suddenly cannot have Aphelios by himself in any stage of the game because he can just one-shot him out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, Nocturne also pretty good at diving Azir, so I like this pick in general. I don't mind the Azir pick either from Evolved. A high-octane mid-lane matchup has been turned into Orianna versus Azir, but that's okay. It happens. Certainly it does seem like everyone's just playing mages and supporting their team, and most importantly their junglers in recent days, especially with Syndra getting banned so often, although not picked at all in this game, curiously. Instead, it's Wukong, Leona, and Ornn, the 3 bans here in Phase 2.
Great point. Yeah, no Syndra here. Well,
she did also get nerfed.
A little bit, right? There was a cooldown on E. I think that was the only nerf, if I'm not mistaken.
On this patch, Darksphere cost up. Right. 10 mana per level. Actually, not even every level. It doesn't matter. It's slightly more expensive.
It's a very low, it's a very small.
Oh, actually, sorry, I take it back. Level 1 is huge. It's 20 mana. Man, I wish I could read numbers. So from 40 to 60 at level 1, which is actually really significant. Makes her pushing and early controlling levels not that oppressive. Still, obviously a very good champion, but I don't think the default wins every lane by auto-pushing it and then ulting you. So maybe we'll start seeing teams move away from it a bit. Certainly in this game, at least, that's been the consideration. Thresh was banned away from Treats, which is nice to see. He's got plenty in the back pocket, though. He's going to go for Rakan here. And Blitzcrank could be a mix-up here from Chime. Bard also in the meta, which would suit him, given his name. Oh, there it is.
Like the Bard a lot more than the Blitz here. There's not a lot of targets that can instantly follow up on the hook before they flash away from that. It's not like a TF Blitz where you hook somebody and immediately they're done for. The Bard does a much better job at separating targets and then allowing Nocturne to just dive in knowing that you have a numbers advantage for a few seconds. So a lot of hard engage from Golden Guardians, but quite difficult to execute.
Yeah, we do see this a lot from Golden Guardians across the organization. They often draft, aggressively lent comps, I would say, or aggressively slanted comps, and they often get ahead early, and then they find themselves in execution bubbles where winning is challenging, and if they had a slightly more straightforward comp with the same lead, it would be perhaps a bit easier. That being said, one of the reasons they're getting their leads is the way they are drafting more aggressively, so there's give and take certainly with how you want to approach the game, but I like what they have. I just agree with you that it can be tricky to pull off. TSM, though, kind of shoring up their very teamfight-centric first 4 picks with Jace. The Joker are going to have something a bit more aggressive here. They don't really have that much hope built into this comp, but Jace just feels like they wanted to at least have pressure in one of their lanes, so I suppose they'll pick top lane.
Yeah, it's going to be useful up there to maybe bully out Aatrox a bit early, but also the gate can be really useful later into the game when it comes to either getting away from the Nocturne or even speeding out of Bard's Tempered Fate. So I think Jace can offer a lot of utility, and then when you combine it with the Pillar with Jace, Poke, you almost guarantee that big shock blast to hit. So I think that if they group up, they can also do quite a bit of work there. So they have a lot of tools to deal with, and they don't have the burden of execution on them when you've got the Azir, the Aphelios, and the Trundle.
It's like controlling the time stone. One of them slows, one of them speeds up. It's perfect. They've got it all under wraps.
Well, I was thinking about the Golden Guardians composition, and I think they're just idealists. Like they envision
like
what
that.
the perfect composition could be. Like, this is what it looks like. Like they dream about these compositions. They're like, it could be perfect. It could be so good. But their dream is that the composition then makes it so that their play elevates itself to match the burden of execution, and you improve that way.
Yeah, certainly, can be successful. I'm also really curious to see Triumph's Bard here. It's really interesting.
Is that our first time?
His first time? Maybe. You know what, Crumbs? We'll look that up in the break, because we are going to be stepping away to build up the game delay. But when we come back, we'll have Time Spot and the rest of the game right from the start. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to our second game of the day. It's week 4 of Academy Crumbs, and we have a fun one lined up here. The number 1 team in our league, TSM Academy, is going to be taking on Golden Guardians Academy.
Yeah, and we also get to see Chime, who His name, by the way, is obviously after the champion Bard, playing Bard for the first time. So could this be the best Bard in NA? I should hope so, because his name needs to be backed up by skill.
Well, this is the interesting thing to me, right? Because, you know, Triumph was a Bard one trick, right? That's where his name comes from. So clearly very proficient on the champion. But a lot of one tricks, when they enter pro, have to obviously play more than one champion. That's one of the things you have to do as a pro player, is you need to be able to play more than your single champion. So I think you forget a lot of that stuff. Like, you're learning new skills, you're learning how to be in a different environment, in a very different type of competition. And, you know, you probably don't play that champion. Like, Evolved used to be Cat Evolved, and probably doesn't play Cat very often in scrims, I'd have to expect. So when your champion does enter the meta, like, do you remember how to play the champion? Are you just as good as you were when you were solely playing them? Like, it's interesting, right?
You definitely get rusty. I mean, my thoughts first go to our most, I guess, proficient one trick that we've had recently in LCS and Academy, which has been Viper. But even talking to him about it, it's like, I gotta be playing Riven all the time to keep up the mechanics. And if she's not meta, and if I need to practice other champions as well, like, I can't afford to just be playing so much of a pick that is so fringe that I might be putting in extra work just to play her once every 5 weeks. Not worth the effort. So you just kind of chuck it in the back and you hope that people still think you're gonna bust it out.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is, like, if you're known for playing a single champion, like, the chances are 99 times out of 100, you did it in solo queue, right? And that also is a very different environment. So the things that work that you've learned, maybe the builds you have, maybe some specialty items you potentially purchase in those games, probably not going to cut it in Academy. So
You don't like RFC Bard?
I love RFC Bard, and if Chime goes RFC Bard and wins handily, I will celebrate him forever. But we shall see, as he is going to be taking the Guardian Exhaust in the battle, so that is all standard at this juncture. Actually, looking across the keystones, it's all pretty normal across the board. Do see Comet versus Phase Rush there in mid. I do like to keep track of mid lane keystones. I kind of miss Halo Blades Azir, but I think you only use it in very specific matchups. So Comet seems a little bit more consistent, especially in range versus range. As Chime already taking that W and setting up some care packages, but for Zion Spartan, we have seen this every single Bard we've seen. I'm pretty sure, at least in the LCS games that I've seen Bard in recently, has made sure to drop somewhere in a lane so someone can have a little bit of an advantage. And unsurprisingly, Zion Spartan is getting the early attention in the 1v1. But against Jace, I actually think he needs it.
Exactly, right? So you could have gone maybe to the mid lane to help out a Blaze Olive here, but it's a sleeper mid. It's Orianna Azir. Like, what are you really going to accomplish there? No one's going to be aggro trading. And TSM, oh, this is such a good invade. You have such a strong level 1 with Jace and Trundle. Pop the sweeper, and now Nocturne is just going to have a bad time. The only way that Golden Guardians can punish this is Zion with the creep wave, but he hasn't really pulled it off. He's just going to be lingering and trying to poke out Dokla when he returns back to the lane. So he's gonna try to trade for an all in here and then take advantage of the Bard health pack that he's gotten in there, but I don't think Dokla missed much.
Yeah, took a little bit of damage from Zion, no follow-up Qs, and yeah, Dokla feeling just fine. Pops in the cannon form there, gets a little bit of damage down. Winston gonna clear 2 camps and leave. Is gonna be spotted though, so Hyde is gonna roam in here. Should be able to collapse. At least not get 3 buffed.
Look at Winston. He's cutting across mid lane. They are not letting hard.
Yep.
Goodbye, Nocturne's early game. Oh, boy. You cannot stick here. They are going to potentially lose this fight, but the bottom lane is collapsing as well.
Oh, okay. So that's the other support rotating in. Chiming Keith, level 2 already as well. That is the advantage they have over Treats. Winston is here, though, contesting for the buff. Mid laners cannot join, but it's going to be a full-on 3v3 if they want it. And Golden Guardians just said the risk is too great. Hard going to have to accept the 3 buff now.
Oh, that is a good early game from TSM. Setting behind the Nocturne so much here. And I wanted to go mention what Zion could have potentially done to punish the Jace, which you often see if you know that your top laner is not going to be in lane, is that you show up first before the creep waves crash, and then you aggro them all onto you, so that when they return to the normal phase of minion versus minion, all of your creeps are attacking the same singular creep, and so you can start shoving the wave a little bit faster that way on the hopes of denying 1 or 2 creeps.
Yeah, it's a little thing, but certainly those are the kind of edges you do want to look for, especially in situations like that where you've just accepted that you have to give something up. Pathing works out massively in TSM's favor, though. Winston actually has decided that, oh, is he going to kill that word? Yeah, he is. Just takes it out for a little bit of extra golden XP in mid. But he's decided he doesn't care if Nocturne sees him. Streets looks for the knock-up there in bottom lane, but doesn't quite connect. Good shield, though, covering loss as they trade back and forth. And 2v2 still winning. Ooh, top lane. Toka, what happened? You got ganked by Hard. Now he's running away. Here comes Evolved, and goodness, this somehow worked out for TSM. Hard, he's trapped. Goodbye, my friend. You have no flash, you have no buffs, and you are now getting first blooded by Dokla.
Ooh, and it goes over to Jace. Red buff against the Aatrox. This gets really rough, and you saw what TSM was going for. So Winston gets the bottom crab and is thinking, I want to double crab Hard, move straight up into the top side, and that's why everybody was so quick to collapse on that. So the overcommitment from Hard into that play, thinking, well, we need to make something happen. We're so behind early, but Dokla just played it really well. I'm not sure what happened with Hard's auto there. I think he might have needed 2 more to actually take out the Jace, so he lives by the skin of his teeth and is rewarded for it. Even look at the coordination of that pastry. Double white flag.
That's a good first blood of it. I like that a lot. There's Dokla now. Oh, he already has Executioner's Calling as well. 10 CS ahead. This is a nightmare for Zion in top lane.
Cool. And for the jungle Nocturne.
Actually, yeah, the jungle's even worse.
So long for Nocturne to hit level 6. If you're behind, you might not even have enough damage to take out a kill, because Dokla would be a good target to go for early on. Jace can be ganked without flash. You can just time out his gate, and even with the gate being available, it's still a possibility to take him out. But if your lane is getting abused and constantly shoved, and you don't have that much damage, and Winston can counter it just like it did before, this Nocturne is not going to get off the ground.
Yeah, certainly a rough start here for Golden Guardians, but for the TSM side, looking like a good start here to continue their push here with only that single loss. Currently 5-1, clear #1 in the league right now. I guess we'll check in with mid lane. There's a tier for Orianna, starting to see more Seraph builds, which is fun, I guess. That's it. We don't need to talk anymore about mid lane right now.
It's fun, I guess.
I mean, it's cool. There's lots of reasons for it, but there's no need to talk about them right now. We'll just chill at top lane. Let's
talk about like a cool thing that TSM did, because I was looking at the LCS games for level 1. Oh wait, they're gonna go for Dokla,
this is why.
But he should be fine.
He is fine. They're diving. Let's go. Get him down. Ooh, good fear. That's gonna be a kill. That's close. Goodness, it's all. That's not it.
Oh god.
All right. That really looks good. Oh, that last caster creep also really put the caster curse there in that Nocturne.
They lose Dragon, and Jace gets to stay, catch the wave as well. And look at this. This is continued attention to the top lane, right? Like, I know that we were saying maybe we want to see other lanes. This is probably the best lane that you could go for right now, but it is just not paying off.
Okay, look. I don't mind. Like, I get the first attempt. I don't mind the second. But if you go again, because at this point, you should not gank this lane. Dokla is clearly too far ahead that it doesn't matter.
I think you can. At level 6, though. You need 6 on both. Without 6, it's not possible.
Well, for Zion, he's already there, so he's ready. For Hard, he is woefully behind Winston. Just hit level 5. Winston's been 6 for a little bit now. He's going to power through these Krugs. The farm difference between the two junglers is ridiculous. I mean, I think there is rightly a lot of focus on the top lane, because as you can see, it's 1,000 gold ahead in the 1v1, but jungle is similarly ahead in the 1v1 here. Winston just has full control of this game, and Dokla's going to be sitting pretty for the rest of this early game, well into the mid game at this point. As Hard, I think, has resigned himself to at least saying, I must farm to level 6, and then maybe we can go for something. So it is going to listen to you, Crumbs.
For the jungle, and I looked at the LCS games at who was doing level 1 invades, especially those late invades into the jungle, because most junglers right now are doing leashless. In Pro, most junglers want to do leashless anyways because you help your laners out and you don't give away what your start is. But going for those late invades, if you can catch the jungler out, are so detrimental for the opposing team that gets it, that has it happen to them. And now they might just kill Zion, who doesn't have flash.
Bad it again, though. Yeah, this is BlazeOlive coming in with the ulti. Level 8 Ori, not too bad. Lights turned off as well. Here comes the Nocturne. This is a good turnaround here for Golden Guardians. Winston running out. Are they going to get feared up? And that ulti's not going to save him. I said that last time. He's still not alive. And BlazeOlive with the auto is able to weave it in. But Dokla able to get one. Still in the 1v3 with the tower helping out a little bit. And he might have more here. Flash is almost back off cooldown. He's going to pop the gate. In we run with the hammer. No, not yet. Flash is not quite there off cooldown.
I think that's still worth it for TSM. You got a teleport, you've got the global ultimate, and you still haven't given up this free. Dokla can win this
Zion's
fight.
got to be careful. Flashes in. Zion Spartan going to get 1v1. Yep, Dokla's got it easy. Zion doesn't even flash away.
Oh, the boy Dokla is doing it again, doing
Big
it dirty to
Dokes.
Zion.
Yeah, that is it's such a brutal 1v1 to lose, but I just don't think you want to opt in there hard.
This
Okay, the long con crumbs.
This is it. Give
we
the
said that
gold.
every time, and it's never been it. 4-0-0 for the Jays. Gets tagged by the Q. Bottom lane, also some action. Chime getting low. Is going to get popped by Evolved, who meets him on the other side of the magical journey. Very unmagical indeed. As Keith also dead in the 3v2. Winston able to take down hard in top lane. Crumbs, what did we say?
They killed hard. They collapsed and actually let Dokla run away with it. They get the counter. Okay, he doesn't. At least he doesn't get the buff. He gets. No, okay, he's fine.
Yeah, puts up the traffic cone. Flashing from Zion Spartan. Orianna is here. They might be able to chase this one down, but Winston still taking damage. Gonna pop the frozen domain, run under the tower, and yeah, they can't even get him.
I was kind of bummed out that we didn't get to see what happened with Doklas, but there was a fight going on into the bottom, and the TSM also won. So they're just obliterating Golden Guardians in this early game. It is not close.
Yeah.
And it all started from that invade by setting up hard. I feel like he's taking it personal at this point. Like, I have to do something about this chase.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the phrase, but I know every jungler tells me that at certain points you have to realize that like your ability to impact a lane is not enough given where the game state is currently at, and continuing throwing resources to try and take down Dokka is not proven fruitful. As we said, Dokka is still not being caught here. Oh my god, that's so much damage.
Wow, the sidestep. And so the crazy part about that is, since he procs the phase rush when he's feared, he just sprints completely away from hard.
I mean, at least we're forming like now Dokla has like a new legend, right? You know, is it? It's never it. Dokla always escapes. At least on Jace.
His mechanics, right? The legend of the Jace that. What should we call it?
It's like Captain Jack Sparrow. You never catch him. You always think you got him. The Big Dokes always gets away. Is Dragon also going to be assaulted here by TSM? They've already got one. They're going to make it two pretty swiftly here, as it doesn't seem like there's an answer incoming here for Golden Guardians. Hard, in fact, was already taking a recall. Does have the Warrior finish, but that is going to be the second Dragon over to TSM. And we did start by wanting to talk about the bot lane, and that was a very nice display that we saw earlier on, but this game has been all about this top side right now, all about Dokla, honestly. 4-0-1, 400 extra gold, a huge farm lead, a finished item, and the Executioner's Calling done already. He was the one part of this comp that we expected to, you know, have an early game advantage, and TSM have taken that idea and stretched it out as far as it could possibly go.
Consider that Zion also received the 3 Bard heal altars as well, so everything was trying to make Dokla's life a little bit harder, but clearly that plan did not work out.
Yeah, 2 levels up as well. Now only 1, and Zion Spartan has hit level 9, but we'll take stock of, you know, what else is going right for TSM, because it's looking good across the board. It's only 1 death, and that is Winston suffering the single one there. Evolve continuing to look good here in mid. Gonna pressure onto a BlazeOlive into the knock up there for treats after the ulti. And there is a good little Zhonya's there for a BlazeOlive. The damage follow-up is very, very good as Golden Guardian's able to find the follow-up. And they turn that around completely.
look at how fast they collapse onto that. I think Chime's ultimate there was just genius in the first place, keeping a Blaze Olive alive long enough for everybody else to collapse. And the double TPs from Zion and Keith were everything that this team needed. There is still life in this roster because they do not want to go down from just shenanigans in the top lane. So really good to see that they're also going to get this Herald, and if they can pop it quick enough, they can also get some plates under their belt. So this gold lead went from what looked like a 5K to just about 2.
Yeah, certainly chopping a couple off of that there are Golden Guardians. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't seem like they'll be able to cash in on those plates, but they do have the Herald. We'll see where they do look to use it. But that was just an amazing turnaround for Golden Guardians. Certainly love to see that one again. We'll see if we do indeed have it queued up. But those are the kind of things that will make a big difference, given how wrong the early game went in the top lane. Continued fighting here in mid lane though, but Treats is here. Evolve's probably not going to fight a Blaze Olive without some support. And a Blaze Olive is going to respect that here and just make sure to not fall prey to Treats' roam once again.
I think the whole TSM lineup is going to have a whole lot of respect now for Golden Guardians after that play, seeing, okay, this is what they're capable of, the speed at which they can collapse, because yes, the TPs were very important, but now a Blaze Olive will have his, and you can also consider that Ezreal's ultimate and Bard can affect the map without necessarily having to be there. So if they can pull something like that off in just a few minutes once again, and that's pretty scary for TSM now that the Azir doesn't have Flash, because that's what they wanted to take advantage of. He can use his Flash to pop the Orianna into the team, just a classic Azir versus Orianna matchup. You've seen it so many times. We know all their tricks. There's no secret in what Azir does to Ori.
Yeah, 2v2, they're still looking good here for TSM. Remember, it's Golden Guardians that have the Herald, but TSM are going to take this first tower here. Continuing to just find an edge here in the 2v2. And get that bit of bonus gold for the team. Nocturne, I think something we do need to look at a little bit more is Golden Guardians will move towards the top side. We basically wrote him off after the early game because of how slow the level 6 would have been. But, you know, he's got his jungle item, he's got an extra Dirk as well. Certainly as the map is opening up a little bit more, there are opportunities for Hard and Chime to roam together like this. They're going to have to roam out of the enemy jungle though, because Tokla and Winston are collapsing, and Treats, of course, is managing to stay active as well here on the Rakan. So lots of activity, but looks like it's just a lot of positioning here, as I imagine the teams will be wanting to concern themselves with the Drake coming up in 50 seconds.
Yeah, this is a big dragon. You do not want to be on soul point and have to get a perfect engage now as Golden Guardians. So the back timings are coming in, but the itemization is not something to really get too excited about. You only have the Seraphs not yet completed from a Blaze Olive, and same with the lack of Mirror Mana from Keith. So they would need to go for a big engage like what they did before, and using Nocturne's ultimate to prevent Dokla from teleporting would be big. But what I would like to see from TSM do is understand, if we just group up from the very get-go, it's going to get a lot harder for Golden Guardians to get that kind of fight, because they only won that last one since they had a big numbers advantage. You cannot TP during the Paranoia, so the Aatrox was able to get there while Jace was stuck in the top lane.
Ooh, Chime, what a steal. 126 gold and the speedrun for the team, as here comes Dokla TPing in. Did go back and buys, who does have some extra items. Serrated Zerk alongside the pickaxe is the latest update. Lost going to have to get out of there to try and shuck the Tempered Fate over, but Dokla's just going to chase down the bar, but still the initiation's going to happen. Hard diving into the back line, but gets charmed up by Treats. Great double shockwave though, finds Lost and Treats the bot lane with a bit of value there after that Orianna shockwave. But Dokla's going to grab himself the double kill and finally be felled. Yes, it's Zion Spartan that gets revenge from so long ago, as Treats gets the knock up and the kill onto a Blaze Olive. No, the shield's there to protect him. Zion Spartan though, left alive here for Golden Guardians, but for how much longer? Hard not here. A Blaze Olive out, and Zion Spartan is just making this a real nuisance. Evolve is going to go in. Thumbs up, but Zion Spartan trying to make a play does not happen, as they will finally finish off that third kill and get the dragon as well.
Not sure about that last flash from Zion. I think that Golden Guardians knew that the play was already lost, but Hard just goes to try to salvage something out of it with the mid lane Herald, so they get something for their troubles, and they get a lot of flashes as well as Dokla's gold spree. So it's not a a complete blunder for Golden Guardians, as they were the ones that looked for the engage first with Chaim popping his ultimate. The second that they saw him out of position, Dokla just ran straight at him and took him out of the fight immediately, which was what Golden Guardians used to try to re-engage, thinking Dokla's not there. That's where most of the gold on TSM is. If we can pop some of these carries before Jace can turn around, that's our best bet.
Yeah, I mean, amazing shockwave there from BlazeOlive. Like, that fight was very close in a situation where it felt like it really wasn't going to be. BlazeOlive continuing to pressure up here. Dokla is surrounded by a Bard as well, but Treat's also here in the 2v2. So Golden Guardians will not be able to commit to finishing off that tower. They'll just do a significant amount of damage and then back away. Unfortunately for Golden Guardians, though, that Dragon did go over to TSM as a result of that team fight, despite them trading what they could. So that very early Ocean Soul, which sounds horrible to play against with a Jace in the game. Nice ult there from Shime, though. And that's going to be a nice combo. 4 people in there, and that's an easy kill. Treat's not there in time to try and get the save. Keith not going to get chummed up either. The quickness just ran out there for the Rakan as Winston's here. Here comes Evolve, looks for the shot, finds 2 there, scoops into the Infernum. Ultiata lost and a BlazeOlive low, but not dead just yet. Hard, they're going to be sacrificed on the front side as Rakan dives the Oriana to make sure she falls. And here comes Lost shooting away. He will get one trade as Evolve is going to fall. But Lost low is going to get killed as well. The double kill for Zion is nice as Golden Guardians actually turn this one around.
Wow, Zion comes in at the very tail end of that fight and actually does so much work. What looked like a really good re-engage from TSM despite losing Treat's initial quickness goes pretty well, but the teleport from the top laner really paying off. So we're starting to see why Golden Guardians loves to pump out resources into Zion. He's really giving us a good performance here despite the early game. And Winston, he does have flash, but against the Bard, that's really hard to get away
Chain
from.
to the Krugs, flashes back in. I think he was trying to go over the wall, but he was a bit short.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
That's what Bard does to you. He teases you. He makes you think that you can chase him, that you can kill him, but he's the kind of champion that is only taking a fight that he wants to take. He can run away from you whenever he wants.
Yeah, again, great start here. Just such a great dogpile there onto Dokla. Getting that gold. Treats tries to get the counter engage going because the team is behind him, but it doesn't work out.
So TSM is already thinking about taking the 4v4 before Zion gets in. Doesn't have a very good TP where that's the closest he can get into the fight, but he just does so much work here, doing so much damage with the AoE, hitting a ton of those critical spots on the TSM members. Once Lost goes down, there's just no hope here. They have to completely run away. It would have been cool to see them go for a tower dive, see how high he could get, but if he had a death dance, you know he's getting in there. He almost hasn't completed after picking up those 2 kills in the back of that fight.
Yeah, again, given how the early game went for Zion, this is looking good. With 2 items almost finished up here. Gold lead has been erased. Also, TSM are only up a couple hundred gold now, and they were up thousands at one point in this game. They do still have the Ocean Soul, though, that will be available for them to try and play for in a minute 25. The Golden Guardians knocking down towers, evening up the gold lead, starting to come online here in the middle part of this mid-game.
I think a big point was that dragon fight where Dokla flashed aggressively to try to kill Keith, despite having a very big bounty on him. Now he's taking some hurt to Zion. Has to pop ulti, got another auto.
One time.
Ooh, okay.
Guardian there for Chime. Gonna make sure that Zion's okay.
Close. That would have been a really big kill to lose right now, not only for the spree, but because Dragon is about to come up now. Taking Zion out of the fight still allows TSM to take control over the area and poke him down. They got Zion, they got, it is Oriana's teleport right now, so fighting for the terrain of the next and deciding objective of the Ocean Soul.
Yeah, this is a really significant one. Again, despite the gold being even, there's so much value in these souls. TSM will be able to play for their first shot at it very early on into this game. Great bit of poke there from Dokla as well. Just finds it around the back of the Drake pit there until BlazeOlive.
Golden Guardians is out of control ward, so they don't have a really good way to ensure that they're not being spotted, but they've already used their final sweeper, so these are essentially the standing positions that we're going to take the fight. Look at Bart, he's flanking around. Huge poke. Ooh. This looks good for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, if Chime can find this ulti especially, Golden Guardians are kind of lining TSM up here for this team fight.
It looks, I want to see Chime hit a fat ultimate.
Chime has to be careful too, because if he gets spotted, he's dead so quickly. So it's Crab who's going to get it. Oh, it's Keith. Good for division, extra speed as well. TSM might be sticking around too long. Here comes Chime. There's the ulti, finds 4. And there's Redemption down as well. The follow-up is good from Oriana, but no one dead still just yet. Hard finally going to take out Doku as TSM are going to be forced to run here, but Hard is getting low. The Dragon's going to go over. You have to think, surely not. Oh no. Lost is able to steal the Ocean Drake away, and now TSM have the soul, but they don't really have the health bars to keep fighting. Chime goes in, gets the stun there. Treats is going to go back in as well. Evolved alive for a little while longer, but not long enough to win the back end of the fight, and Treats will run out of there alongside Winston, but they still somehow get the Ocean Soul.
Oh, wow. Okay, I think they can stop Winston here, and if they can keep him corralled, this could be the Baron for Golden Guardians. Yeah, just take him out.
Yep, Keith able to get the last hit in that kill. All right. Very messy around the Dragon Pit. Wonderful ult by Chime, by the way. Good call on that one, Crumbs, but somehow Lost was able to steal that objective.
Yeah, I mean, Hard got the pick onto Dokla, which was great, but then he committed to try to get into the fight, just walking into an Azir. Not the play. When you don't have the ultimate to engage onto these long-range mages, you're just going to take so much damage, especially as a from-behind Nocturne. Now, they're going to start this Baron. There is a Jace that can potentially steal this, and the teleport from Azir is going to commit, so I think that TSM will definitely try to fight this.
Yeah. Kind of a late start on this Baron here for Golden Guardians. We'll see if TSM can punish him for it. They are going to commit to Winston's not going to be able to make it. They're going to have to fight instead. Hard's going to turn out the lights. Baron is available. He's going to get a good smite, but the team fight is going to be the next thing to decide. Treats is going to live. Dokla is able to take down Chime. But I think only one kill for a Baron. They'll take it. Nice shockwave as well. Dokla actually going to be collateral perhaps on this fight. No, Keith going to get the last Mystic Shot blocked. So Dokla going to live. Golden Guardians, I'll take it. They'll sacrifice their bard for the Baron.
Okay, but they still lost the Ocean Soul. That is the aftermath of that Dragon fight. They'll lose the mid-tier 1 as well, but we got a really close game here. And I think that Baron fight could have gone a bit better for TSM had the first Shock Blast from Dokla actually connected. They were not poked enough, and Golden Guardians had a really good cue to just re-engage. There's no gate down, or sorry, finish the Baron without the gate being available. But now Keith is pretty strong. He's about to hit the death dance. Once he bases, he's sure to have it. And that is one of the scariest AD champions right now. Ezreal is just, he can go God mode against this comp.
For sure, but it's wild to hear you say that this game is close given how it started. I mean, Golden Guardians are up, actually 1,500 gold, which isn't bad. They're going to probably get more ahead with this Baron. Right now, the Baron power play not looking so hot, but I imagine that is going to change. There's still plenty of time left to play with the buff.
I mean, I think so much of it has been off the back of the Bard ultimate. So that big one in the mid lane that also got collapsed by everybody there. They're just so quick to assist each other. And then that big Dragon fight, despite losing it, it got them the Baron. If they can get this to get an inhibitor, they can set themselves up for the next major objective, which is going to be that all-important Elder Dragon. You get that and pretty much win every fight.
At least while you have the buff, right? That's kind of one of the interesting things about, this exchange, actually. This Ocean Soul for this Baron. Right now, obviously, Golden Guardians have the advantage, but TSM will have the Ocean Soul forever in this game. Still, towers are falling kind of across the board here. Again, Golden Guardians were woefully far behind in this early game, but they're in a very firm lead right now.
It's really hard for TSM to engage against Golden Guardians. They're so slippery. Nocturne's not going to put himself in a position to get caught since he can engage so far. So the only targets that TSM can realistically go for are potentially a Blaze Olive and maybe Chime, but it has to come from Treats, and if Chime is there or anybody else is there to assist you, not only is the mobility, the speed ups, or even the Tempered Fate, if worse comes to worse, enough to bail you out.
Golden Guardians still 15 seconds left with the Baron buff. The Tempered Fate will not find someone on TSM straggling. It looks like Golden Guardians are done. with their push. Not the biggest Red Bull Baron power play, but again, they'll take it given where the game was in the early stages. And they also have this Elder Dragon to probably reset for, because teams are going to want to fight over this objective.
Okay, so the big thing that we need to see again is Chime going for that fat ultimate. It was huge that he was able to flank around and nobody spotted him from TSM. But I still think Golden Guardians can have a little bit more firepower, because there was no 4-man Shockwave off of that 4-man Tempered Fate. I would have loved to see a BlazeOlive flash aggressively and hit that 4-man Shockwave the second that the Tempered Fate would fall off. Now, why he didn't do that? You don't want to look that stupid. If you miss that, you actually just look horrendous, whereas you can just wait your time. You know that the poke is hitting, so it is a safe play, but we can also envision the really hyphy play out of Golden Guardians and how powerful that can be when you combo it from the Tempered Fate. So it's the idealist of Golden Guardians that I'm trying to absorb here and think, okay, this is what it looks like when they really get executed to perfection, and there's one guy that's setting it all up, and it's the namesake Chime. I can't believe this is our first time seeing his Bard.
Well, it might be the last, depending on how much better this game goes for him, but we'll have to see. TSM are gearing up for this Elder Dragon. It's up in 25 seconds. Lost just went back, finishes Phantom Dancer. Items in general looking pretty healthy for both sides, so let's see how the inevitable fight around this objective does transpire. Evolved, I guess, the one wanting one more item, actually behind the BlazeOlive on total completed items right now, but he does not have time to go shopping.
Zion is roaming down, so they see him taking off mid lane, so Golden Guardians will have mid prio here, despite not having the crab. Going after Zion is not going to be the play. There's not an easy way to catch him here, so they'll contest mid and go back here, but now they're flanked in and sandwiched between an Aatrox and the rest of the team, so this could be a good position for TSM. They just can't get caught by that Tempered Fate, so avoiding those big clumps will be the first step to deterring Golden Guardians engaged.
Yeah, Keith with the Death Sense finished as well, alongside an Executioner's Calling, so he's battle ready for sure. Elder Dragon going to get aggro, but teams are not really interested in massively committing. As I say that, Keith is going to at least poke at this one. Actually doing very significant damage just on his own here with the BlazeOlive shielding him up. But it's a very safe way to start the Elder Dragon without committing to anything. So I like how slow Golden Guardians are playing this here. Evolved also did go back and shop. That's just going to use his TP to get back into this fight now. But look how spread out this is. Everyone's like wrapped around the Elder Dragon pit.
Okay, they see Chime, but Aatrox is not here in the fight just yet. They go in.
So if a slow Treat's going to dive in onto Keith, but they don't really have a solid follow-up here. Dokla with a flank onto Chime. Not bad, but Keith is going to force him out. Here comes Hard diving in, but Hard not going to make it over the walls. The flash from them is good. Winston, though, getting low. They need to hold onto the jungle here around the objective, though. TSM will protect Winston, but he's pretty low on health here. Golden Guardians winning that exchange despite no kills happening.
They used a lot of ultimates, so I think TSM still has theirs, and they can still take this. Winston will heal back up. He's just so tanky with the Spirit Visage. He'll just heal passively right here. Look at Dokla. If he can hit some poke, but Chime is on his way back. It's just so hard for them to commit to this when there's nobody that can really stand in the front lines and simultaneously tank Ezreal and the Elder.
Yeah, Dokla's trying to work on the mid wave now, but Golden Guardians are not taking the bait. This Elder Dragon's taking a while, is regenning some health as well, but it might just commit. No, it's actually going to reset almost fully, so it gets back about 1500 health. Dokla is starting to take towers now, so Golden Guardians need to commit to this if they're going to try. If this is the fight they want to pick here. No ult here for Bard. TSM still trying something here. They're just going to go for the 50-50. Winston going to dive in. Who's going to get it? It is a BlazeOlive. And now Evolve dives in, gets a decent scoop, but he's dead. Treatser with a massive flank on the other side is going to have to take them all out here. Dokla opening up on the back lines of the fight, but the Tempered Fate is going to find him. Lost, though. Still alive, and Treatser's here as well. Dokla, they're going to get blown up with the Elder Dragon laser from a BlazeOlive. As Lost is forced to heal himself out of there, so Golden Guardians get to win the objective and win the fight afterwards.
Ooh, so Dokla is pushing in the mid lane, trying to exert more pressure and potentially threaten in base, but with the tier 2 already being up, it was just not going to happen. TSM was outnumbered, and that is why Golden Guardians felt so confident in just taking that fight right there. And even though you've got both junglers fighting for the 50-50, it ends up being a Blaze Olive that takes the objective, which is a great heads-up move by him, whether it was trying to use his combos onto the Trundle and kill him before he gets his smite, or if he's got the heads up to try to also steal despite both junglers looking for it. It's a good call, and now the Baron will also be secured by him, giving no chance for TSM, who is now well in the back foot into this game, about 5,000 gold behind.
Yeah, really well played around that Baron as well. But actually, neither jungler was present for that objective, which is why it looked a little odd. But I did like Hard's ulti there just to make sure no one from TSM could get in. They body block Treats' Q, which was the only thing that maybe would have stolen it, even though the chances were pretty unlikely. And Golden Guardians do secure both objectives on either side with Keith's TP there, able to start that Baron nice and early. So a very well played, mid-game here from Golden Guardians to, again, crawl back a game that we were horribly behind in the top lane. But I feel like the decisions they've made as a team, the teamwork they've shown here, the execution, which we did say was going to be challenging, certainly shown that this is a comp that they're happy to play. They're comfortable playing around Chime's Bard. Now Hard's just chasing down Treats. Oh, that's not the chase they wanted. See you later. Nice bait there from Treats with the thumbs up.
Okay, so they have the inside track onto the top side, but Azir can get back up there to stop the push, and that single pick can just slow down the entire Baron. I'm not sure that Golden Guardians can actually get anything off this Baron anymore, just because you are outnumbered. If Treats wants to find and engage onto you again, they're going to have no problem committing to the all-in there, knowing that the paranoia is not coming in, which has been so annoying in disrupting the vision. It's always so hard for us to paint the story of how disruptive a Nocturne can be during a fight, because we obviously don't get affected by it. But when you have these poking champions that can reposition so quickly, only the opponents are the ones affected. And here comes the flank.
Dokla with a flank TP, a Blaze Olive low. That's a good shutdown again. Dokla does grab it, but on the other side, Treats is trying to find the flank. He got flanked himself by the rest of Golden Guardians.
Oh, the quickness was not up. It just came up, so Treats gets caught without it. And, well, the Baron push is just going to lead to more kills. No major objective taken, so I think we're going for the next Infernal pastry. This game is going the distance.
Yeah, it's starting to get late in this game. 35 minutes have elapsed already. Teams are clearly wanting to keep fighting here. Keith is a tough one to pin down. Doesn't even blink away. He just starts shooting Winston instead.
He's honestly the best target to use Trundle ultimate on. That is the world we live in. He is the tankiest member when it comes to resistances on the Golden Guardians team.
So quite the situation. I believe you are right. This Keith is just going to bounce between the jungle, finishing up the red buff here. Going to go ahead and go back and spend some of that money. And like you said, we are waiting on those next objectives. Baron has worn off. Not much this time for Golden Guardians. They have basically used it to take it off the map after getting the Elder Dragon. But bases are still intact. Inhibitors are actually all still up alongside their towers. So still work to do here, Crumbs. To be threatening that Nexus. And at this point, going to have to start throwing the money number out the window. It's going to be this execution, which has felt like Golden Guardians favored for most of this game.
Absolutely. So far, they've done a really good job, except that pick on Nocturne. I think they could have done so much with the Nocturne right there, when you could use Tempered Fate to quickly collapse on somebody like the Orianna that was caught by herself. So a little bit of hiccups here, but they feel very confident in these fights, since TSM just has to rely on Treats to get a fight in. And the big issue with the Rakan, while you have a very strong combination of Trundle and Rakan to disrupt and engage onto certain targets, Golden Guardians' picks are just really tough to pick. It's only Hard that is actually the least mobile of the champions. Everybody else can easily escape out of the grasps of that combo, so unless they can catch the Nocturne in the jungle alone, they're not feeling confident enough to go for an engage without knowing that Golden Guardians will either escape, and then you would have wasted your cooldowns, or the re-engage from Golden Guardians would be too strong, because the Nocturne can also be the ball carrier, and that gets even crazier. Here we go.
Again, TSM going in. Treats, look at the Keith. That's a good scoop, but what a stasis there. as Keith's going to maybe get out of there. Dokolo's diving in, but he's now going to get feared up with a Nocturne. Chased down by Hard's ulti. Still pretty tanky though, flashes out of there as Winston able to face tank and front-loaded damage as well. And so many cooldowns exchanged, but no lives left on the Rift just yet.
Wow, what a great stopwatch there from Keith. They did not check that he was going to be building a Guardian Angel. Takes a little bit of damage, but he still has some lifesteal, some creeps to heal up him, so he's going to be fine from that play. And Chime can always heal up. He's going to be just as effective at this HP as long as he doesn't get poked out again by Dokla. So while TSM have the inside track, the engage did not deter Golden Guardians. They can continue to go back in.
Yeah, Loft was letting it rip in that team fight, by the way, with the Chakrams. So, Elder Dragon going to be started by TSM. Doku with a big flank. Starcrab looking dead, but that's certainly the least important objective right now.
Big poke onto the Nocturne. That is a big target to take down. If you lower the engages and health, they cannot engage without instantly getting collapsed. Look at Treats. He has quickness. Here we go.
Here's the play. TSM is setting this up. He does dive into the backline, gets the Blaze Olive. That's a very key target to get. He's one of the few immobile characters, even though he's got the flash. GA, though, popped onto Dokla. Winston taking a little bit too much damage. Oh, a good pushback there from Evolve. He has to keep Zion Spartan out of the backline. Treats, though, diving back in now, back towards his teammates. He's trying to protect everybody else, and Zion is the only one to fall, but that's enough for TSM to force back under the Elder Dragon.
I think they have it. Geeth does not have a lot of health. Hard might be trying to paranoia in and go for a steal. Yep, that's what they're going for.
Needs the vision. Oh, they actually just reset it. They don't want to run in now. Hard's actually in the backside, but he has been spotted. Dokla! The Svolved actually going to dive in there. What a great bit of poke there from the Jason. Now that's it. That's over to TSM. The Elder Dragon is theirs.
Okay, Baron is up, and Zion is not up for another 22 seconds, so they could just rush this. They are so strong. They know that at least Hard has the base, and he won't have paranoia. I think TSM can get a 2-for-1, but they need to be really quick. They're not going for it. Azir is holding the bottom wave, so they're doing it now. He can TP into this, but there's still no good wards for him to get here. Nobody has a control ward to lay down, so if Azir wants to make it into this play, he's gonna have to walk.
Yep. It's like looking for wards. He's like, wait, where do I go? Gonna do some shopping instead. It doesn't look like this Baron will be contested. So TSM will get away with it. Looked kind of greedy, but looks like they had it all planned out here as Golden Guardians are also resetting after the beating they took at the Elder Dragon pits. So double buffs now, double big buffs for TSM. Both Baron and Elder Dragon. For a minute 30 at least they'll have both.
It's been the story of two supports in these dragon fights. The first time around, it's been Chime with a great flank, but now it was Treats who finds a Blaze Olive. And Dokla with the GA itemization actually has a really easy time zoning and chunking somebody out, knowing that he can take a lot of damage and still be relevant later into the fight. Somebody body blocked, I think it was the Aatrox, his empowered Q that prevented him from immediately obliterating a Blaze Olive. But other than that, we need to keep our eyes on the supports. They are so important for how these fights are being dictated.
Yeah, Blaze Olive also flash, now a stopwatch, has the Seraph Shield as well. Like, he has a lot of ways to protect himself, but TSM still just hammered the Orianna as hard as they could because they know that's basically the big cooldown that's been ruining them in all of these team fights, is Orianna shielding people up and then finding that shockwave to turn the fight around. So I like the targets TSM are picking, especially given accessibility to carries is such an issue with Ezreal being as mobile as he is. TSM, though, at least find the pick they needed to take these two objectives. They're going to start smashing down structures, and they've retaken the gold lead, but like we've been saying, it's felt pretty insignificant for at least the last 10 minutes.
Absolutely. It's all about the positioning now, and Dokla 1v1ing Zion in the top lane, but with the Elder Baron, Golden Guardians just watches as their base gets obliterated. He cannot really defend the top lane when everybody else comes in here. Maybe a Tempered Fate combo would be ideal here, but it's still Elder. I mean, you get poked out by Dokla, the last thing you want to do is give him a chance to just execute you from the power of the Elder.
Elder is off now, but Ocean Soul still continues, which I feel like is something we've forgotten about. Like, TSM have had the Soul for 20 minutes, I think.
It's true. It's true. It's allowed them to stay in these fights much more efficiently than Golden Guardians, who's had to reset so often.
45 seconds of Baron in this game state feels so hard. Top lane inhibitor tower surely is going to die. It's just a matter of what else can fall after that. In fact, they're not even waiting for the wave. They're just going to face tank it. Dokla's going to get put into the Golden Aura, but Treach's going to dive in once again onto Keith and Chime. He goes, just trying to move them back in. Winston taking a little bit too much damage. Shockwave's massive, finds Treats and Dokla. But the Redemption's going to keep the rest alive as Lost just flashes in. He's going off now in this team fight. Looking to take stake of this game, saying this one's over and I'm going to make sure of it. The Nexus Towers are going to evaporate. Lost picks up 2 quick ones. Going to make it 3 there for Chime as Evolve is able to take that kill. And Winston will tank up what he can, but the Nexus will fall as TSM take a slobber knocker versus Golden Guardians Academy.
What a roller coaster ride of a game. The ups and downs. We thought it was going to be a stop from the early game, but wow, the late game really delivered there. And there was not much that Golden Guardians could do holding on to that game. They had a nice shock wave, but Aphelios hit his late game, and what can you do? He's gonna just out DPS every other marksman. Ezreal's just in there, pew pew from a back, but he gets a flash in and chakram you to death.
Yeah, blink this as Lost just dives in to finish it off. Well, that was quite a thrilling game, but we are going to need to catch our breath. We will be hearing from the TSM top laner in not too long, though, so meet us here after the break. Hello and welcome to the Verizon post-game interview. I'm here with the most fitting player that I could possibly be with, Dokla from TSM Academy. That was a... How was that game for you playing?
That game was really weird because they had like all things. Like, it had a really good early game, and then mid game kind of just we couldn't really engage or anything. So it was in a lull state, and then the late game team fights were just like back and forth.
So how are you feeling after the early game? Because that was like the amount of times we thought you were dead and then you weren't were fairly ridiculous in that early game. So at that point we just feeling like, hey, like this game's it, it's done.
Yeah, I was getting some special treatment in the top lane that I'm not really used to, but it was really like I wasn't. I mean, Jace versus Aatrox's a good matchup, and I have Phase Rush, and Nocturne's not really a early ganking jungler, so even if they do go for ganks, it's really easy for me to survive. So I felt comfortable in the gank scenarios that did happen. Yeah.
Right, and certainly it seemed like that lead was going to take over the game, but not how it worked out. How was navigating and communicating in kind of the mid to late game, especially because that game just seemed so hectic in all those team fights.
Yeah, I got kind of lost in the mid game, and I mean, I wanted to pressure on my side of the map, but it's just we didn't have vision, and they just have like good pick potential with Bard, Portal, and Nocturnal, so and Bartle as well. So it's really hard to navigate mid game because our champs just we don't have engaged. Like we have Trundle versus Ori, Ezreal, so it's really hard to like force a play if it's not around an objective. So mid game was really hard to play.
And then, of course, he managed to pull it out in the end to continue an almost unblemished record here. But with that, of course, TSM Academy is still the #1 team in the league. Do you feel like teams are starting to get to a point where they're challenging you, or do you still feel like TSM is clearly head and shoulders above every other team?
Well, I don't think we're the clear-cut best team. I think we do have a good record right now, but I think C9's always been good in Academy, and I think by the end of the split, they'll be competing with us for the top spot. But outside of that, I'm not really too worried about anyone else. Maybe EG, because they have, Huni in Academy.
Yep. Could always get something settled. Well, so congratulations on your win today, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we are going to throw it to a break, but don't go too far away. We've got more Academy action coming right up.